Welcome to the Investor Agent Podcast. I'm Steve Seymour, your host, where we help transform the human mindset from scarcity and lack to abundance and wealth, one conversation at a time. Steve Seymour here with the Investors Agent Podcast. Today we have Matt Lenza on as our guest. Thanks, Matt, for coming on today.
Happy to be here, man.
So spring is here. We're starting to warm up outside. And what do you think about the spring market coming?
It's crazy.
Are we going to have a spring market?
We're going to sell some houses. Let's go with that. Yeah. But it's still too crazy for my taste.
Yeah.
Just my gut feel.
So Matt, tell us a little bit about the Matt Lenza team and how you got started in real estate.
So I'll start with how I got started in real estate. So essentially, and I think you know a little bit of this story, I worked with a lot of agents back in the day. And part-time agents, not judging anyone. Sometimes it doesn't work well, sometimes it does. But I'm a very particular person, and I was going for my MBA at Villanova at the time and had some free space and just said, hey, I'm going to become my own realtor.
When you say working with other agents, you meant like you were using them to help you find properties?
I wasn't yet an agent. I bought my first home in 2007 and had an agent that was great. Just basically got me in the doors quickly, but I did all the negotiations. And she told me, hey, maybe you should become your own agent. And I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. Then I bought a duplex in Ridley Park, and my agent was great. However, he said the same thing. So I started thinking, can't be that hard. Let me try it. So I did everything even back then, all online, passed my test, and I really only wanted to do it for myself. I didn't want to be an agent. I wanted to essentially, if I want to go see a house on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. or noon during my lunch break, because I used to work at Boeing, I could go over and come back.
So you're impatient. You didn't want to wait.
Maybe that comes across. Well, you couldn't.
No, but you have to be aggressive, right? You got to go out and find the deals. If it's a good deal, it's going to move quick.
Yes. And then when you put more people in the mix, then you have to align with their schedule.
Yep.
And I was not buying expensive properties.
That's a unique way to get your real estate license. I've heard the story similar to that, but that's kind of unique. So
that's how I got it.
All right.
So then I left Boeing and really had enough properties at that point in time to have enough money coming in. Got some more, and then I started helping, essentially family and friends. And that's what got me into being what I consider a normal real estate agent. And that was it. And I met a few people, grew a team, shrunk a team, grew a team again, and I'm here today.
Yeah, well, the intention of this podcast, the Investors Agent Podcast, is really to help transform the human mindset from scarcity and lack to abundance and wealth.
I love it.
And as an agent, most agents are just focused on the transaction and not really creating long-term generational wealth. You came about it with a different approach. You came with the investor first approach, which is very much in alignment with our take on real estate and what's the best way to go, right? Yeah. Well, it's great minds think alike. So, so with that, what are some of the challenges you faced getting started in real estate? And I don't mind if you touch on mindset a little bit. Was there any hurdles there, or was it more tactical? Really anything you could share that could help someone listening to get into their first, investment property, rental property, flip.
Just do it. I've been saying this to my kids a lot. No, it's a great tagline. Obviously, it's not mine, but I'm working with someone right now, and we're going back and forth on WhatsApp. I'm telling them things like the numbers will make sense, and they're digging into rent rolls. It's a month-to-month lease, and the rents are below market value. So long story short, just do it. Sometimes, you're not going to hit a home run on your first one. It's more the learning process. If you're in this for the long haul, and I know both of us are and many others, then get one under your belt and go for it. That's probably the simplest way I can say it, Steve, because so many people are nervous. And I even do this at Boeing, a first-time homebuyer program.
Yeah.
And I see people year after year, and they ask the same questions, and they're not buying anything.
So how do they take the first step when you say just do it?
First step is get with a good agent, because you're saying they're not agents already. If you're not an agent and you're just an investor, get with a good agent. You're going to hear me say this. I don't want to say this. Work with several. Try them out. See what works for you. We're not all the same, and it's really, you got to gel with that person. And they have to understand the sense of urgency. So if they do that and they work well with you, at least you got that part kind of set up. Do your own homework. Always look at all the sites out there and get linked up with Bright, of course. But don't just let an agent send you houses and then you go see them. I mean, you got to be hungry. You got to be scouring the data, looking at it, asking people, friends, if they're going to sell, and get one under your belt.
Yeah, I think the two biggest challenges that I come across is I don't have enough money or there's no deals.
So there's always deals.
Right. So how do you address those two concerns?
So not enough money, you can borrow money. There's something out there called hard money. We know about it. I don't necessarily suggest it, but I know many investors, that's how they started. You can borrow money. And if you have all the other pieces of the puzzle, the flipping game, and things kind of situated or you feel good about it, and it's just the money, there you go. And as far as the deals, I don't know if we said this before. I used to be, when I became an agent, I would shotgun offers. And I'm not saying let's do that, but I would. I'd put in 100 offers a week.
That's a lot of offers.
I was crazy. Yep. Still am a little bit, but.
Well, you might have to take 100 swings to hit one.
There you go. And then it's a home run. And then it keeps making money month after month if you manage it correctly.
Do you self-manage your properties?
Unfortunately, I do. I have quite a few people that have helped me. I'm trying to get my sister into the game, and I'm more close friends and family now because I want to keep it a little smaller and tight-knit. But yes, I do self-manage right now. And I have some people that I can bring in if I don't want to. But, it's kind of an up and down thing. With me doing less real estate for others, I say right now, I do have more time to shift and do my own properties. So to me, it's always kind of a swinging scale. And I'm not going to say that works for everyone, but I'm very hands-on and I like things done a certain way. And that, that's how I do it.
Yeah. And you took, probably a more conservative approach than many in terms of like financing deals, right? I mean, I don't want to make any assumptions because we talked about this a long time ago, but kind of almost the snowball cash flow where you cash flow, save up, buy another one, cash flow, save up, buy another one. Was that your approach?
100% still is. Actually went through a separation. I told you about that. And even last year I was looking to buy a house and I was going to utilize a mortgage just to do it. And I ultimately didn't go that route, but everything that I bought, that's exactly it. And to be fair, some of these properties we said years ago were cheap, $35,000, $45,000. So save up the money, buy it. And that was the game plan. So a lot more conservative, a lot slower. If I went back in time, I can reflect on this. No way I would do that.
Yeah.
Everything that was a double or a triple or of course a home run, I would take it and run.
And you worked at Boeing. Did you have an engineering background?
That's my background. Yep.
Do you think that was more of a conservative engineering approach, like analytical, really minimizing risk?
I do, and I work with a lot of engineers, and I got to kind of diffuse the situation sometimes because they want everything, and sometimes you just got to act fast. So I think luckily I've balanced that pretty well, and when there's a deal, someone called me up on Friday when I was away and said, "Hey, Matt, this dropped in my lap. Do you want it?" I said yes.
Yeah.
I didn't give him a number. I just said yes. So we're working through the details now, but he knows me from years ago, and that's it. He knows I'll, get the money. It'll be smooth and easy. So I'm getting that call. No one else is right now, or hopefully no one else is, but that's how it happened.
I would just venture to guess one of the biggest risks for someone with a very analytical thought process in buying a rental property is, well, what if the tenant doesn't pay and I have to pay the mortgage?
So when I was a kid in first grade, people said, what if questions my teacher are useless? Now they're not. It's good to go through the thought process. You're 100% correct. That is where they learn though. And also for me helping, investors and other people, I'll guide them through it. Or someone else, it doesn't matter. There's help and people want to help. So I'd say ask for it. But seriously, people are like, oh, I have a great tenant for 6 months. What do I do then?
Yeah.
This is a cycle. You go through it. You got to know every step of it. And it's okay to fail sometimes. Just kind of get back quickly and fix it. But that's my thought process.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think the conservative approach is actually great in so many ways, and there's not one size fits all. So for everyone that's wants to invest, it has to meet your risk tolerance. Correct. And I think that's where Matt has a very different approach initially, and now you kind of see the other side of it, so you can kind of see both sides of the coin.
I would tell people now, if you can make hard money work or something a little bit more creative, go for it. I was extremely conservative and I regret it. Even the first house I bought was 20% down. I didn't have to do that. I'm thinking back, I could have saved that money, settled on that home, and the next day or the next week have money to buy another one. And I wasn't in that mindset, and I blame my parents.
Your approach didn't do you wrong, though.
No, I'm okay.
Right?
I'm happy where I am.
And it's like a lot of people that took too much risk, right? They'll over leverage, get behind, get stressed. You don't want to be behind the 8 ball when you have a ton of mortgage payments and your cash flow is not quite keeping up. So that's the other side of the coin. And finding a balanced approach, it seems like you really have a good gauge on that with helping people determine what's the best approach for them.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I did take a risk when I left Boeing. I actually had 3 properties under contract. I might have told you this at that same time. And I figured maybe I'd get one of them. I actually got all 3 of them. So I drained all my liquid funds. And I was actually kind of nervous. I was like,
and that's pretty risky too, right?
It was.
Because if you do all cash and you don't have enough liquid reserves,
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there is no perfect approach, but like Matt said, get into it, get started. And then, one thing that I admire about Matt, as a serial entrepreneur, running a team, which is really running a whole business, running your rental properties, continuing to scale that. How do you leverage out? What are some of the tools, systems, people? How does Matt leverage all this, or you just you don't sleep? What's the secret?
Some people would say that. My sister would. I was better at leveraging during COVID, and sometimes things have calmed down in the market. So I am still doing a lot myself. I'm not proud of that, but for growing certain things, I mean, you do a better job of it than me by far. That is what I want to get better at. My main thing is I can do things pretty quick, and I know what it is. And all my rental properties, I was there. I renovated them. I know where the pipes are. And I can relay this knowledge to other people, of course. But sometimes a 5-minute phone call to me to help someone out could be an hour-long escapade and then a visit by someone else. So I'm torn between that. I want to get better at it, but I don't do a whole lot of leveraging. What I do is more expedited things, meaning, hey, I have a vacant unit. I'm not going there. I'm not showing it. I'm giving the people the code. There's a camera watching them.
That's leverage.
It is.
Right?
It is, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of shrinking the process and making it simpler. I have tenants like I don't even know what they look like, and that's good in my opinion.
Yeah.
But as long as they pay on time and things are in our automated system, I'm a happy camper. Once they get off though, that's, never a good thing.
So your leverage is through process and efficiency
and technology. So for my clients, even investor clients, me, I'll go do a video tour. I'll do several. And now I try to send it just to them unless I get the agent's permission, but that's huge because they'll see the layout, they'll see the mechanicals, they'll get my take on it, and they may say, hey, Matt, I don't want it. Or they may say, I want to buy it. And that to me is the leverage if we're going to back end into leverage here.
I would say that's leverage because, you can't do everything yourself, right? Nope. You can, but you're not going to get very far. You wouldn't have got to where you're at now had you not used some sort of leverage in some capacity. And even with the team, leveraging other people.
Of course.
Right? And a system and a structure. So, Matt, what are you seeing out there in the market? Because that's kind of the $1 million question, and no one's got a crystal ball, but, obviously rates are high, inventory is super low. At least in our area, it's extremely low. Still seeing some bidding wars. Not a lot of great, opportunities for buyers at a face value, just looking at the market, no. Right? Especially with the purchasing power. Where do you think the edge is?
Where can we gain an advantage?
Yeah.
Same way if I'm buying my own home right now. Target a neighborhood, target what you want, go after them. That's what I would do, because as soon as something hits the market, this as well as you're already behind the 8 ball. As soon as they're getting something and it's out there, they're getting offers, you lost the edge. As an investor, as a normal home buyer, same thing. Any agent you can work with, anything you can expedite the offer and make it super clean, you're well aware of this, that helps. And sometimes it's just not going to work out. I'm not going to bring a mortgage client to see a house and someone's buying it cash and paying more and waiving everything. You know how that plays out. So you got to be a little creative, but speed kills. Sometimes me just putting in an offer super quick,
just being first in line,
it sets the stage.
That's such a simple thing.
Of course.
How many people miss out on deals just because they're not first?
Well, I shouldn't pull this out, but I operate on the phone, so I can put an offer in on this. And many people, I'll get to it tonight or when I'm at my computer. And it's like, you're already behind.
Yeah. So if you see a good deal, how quickly do you want to get that offer in?
Oh my God, ASAP. So the deal. I'm calling the other agent. If I know them, much easier conversation. But a text message exchange of the bullet points of our offer, letting them know where we are, obviously the good points, even some of the bad points. I'm not going to hide something. Hey, listen, I have a VA client right now. Some people don't look as favorable on those offers. I told the client, I told the agent. So if we make a deal work, great. If not, there are other houses out there. So it's just different between a normal, I want to say, client buying a house to live in versus an investor. Investor, I'm always going to go back to the shotgun approach or, hey, there's another house out there. Set your criteria. If it matches it, go for it.
That kind of leads me to my next question with negotiation, right? And relationships and the importance of maintaining relationships with other agents in this industry.
We're not shouting out any specific agents. You're not against it, are
no,
you?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, no, let's not shout out any names here, right? But just in this industry with such a tight inventory and listings being such high demand, obviously every listing agent has a fiduciary responsibility to their client.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest. The reality is the relationships do matter.
Yep, 100%.
And they matter because it influences the listings agent's thought process around their ability to close, right? The confidence level of what they have in that buyer based upon the other buyer's agent. So, how would you say, someone should go about approaching negotiations in this market? And this could be for an agent or for a buyer, just to give them a little insight in terms of some, I don't want to say tactics, but an approach that actually works.
Gotcha. So a few things, just again, my personal opinion. I feel like I have to give a disclosure on that. You got to be working with a good agent. There's many of us out there, but you know the deal. Sometimes someone is working with a family friend. They may be great. They may not be. I mean, you're buying a house, whether to live in or an investment property. You're buying an investment. Don't kid yourselves. Do the right thing, in my opinion. Work with a professional. And there's more than one of us out there, or two of us. And that would be kind of first and foremost. And beyond that, as far as the negotiations, it gets, you put your best foot forward and you do it quick. So houses come up, depends on your client. I would level set with my client. They're buying a house. I give them a rule of thumb, we could be 10% over, just so they have that in the back of their mind. Now, when I'm working with the other agent, I'm of course going to say, hey, what information do you have for me? And some of them are slammed. So text first, always, always, always text. My phone goes crazy. I have one in Brookhaven right now. Wouldn't stop calling me. And it's like, that's also be respectful, read the agent notes, the special remarks that say how the agent wants to do business. We all do something a little differently. I'm going to get back to you via text. I'm not going to sell a house out from underneath someone. I'm not going to do it. Again, we've been around a long time.
Yeah.
It just comes back to haunt you. And I'm out for my seller. If I'm here representing a seller, we're going to take the best offer. But I'm also going to give agents an opportunity, to come back and see what it is and not just, oh, this offer's clean and quick and easy, let's move on. Because you did hit the nail on the head there. Some agents out there, they are looking at this as a commission check at the end of the day. And that's just a fact. They got to feed their families. They got to take care of their things. I used to say it years ago, and I should say it more. That's not my style. I have my rental properties. I have other income. I'm happy to help people where we gel and they get it. And that's different though, because some people, on the phone calls, they're like, oh, what can we do to get this deal to the closing table? And one of them may have a client, Steve, that wants to back out. And are you really helping them if you do get the deal together? It's a gray area. It feels awkward to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you really want to work in their best interest, whatever's best
100%.
for them.
Yep.
All right, well, let's shift a little bit. So we talked about how did Matt get in, what he's doing. He's got some rental portfolio, self-manages the properties, even does some of the maintenance, it sounds like.
Fortunately.
Which we're gonna stop Matt from doing that soon. No, I think he likes it, right?
I do.
If you love doing it, then who knows? Who cares?
I'm happy.
Where do you see the Matt Lenza team going? Where do you want to take this thing?
So that's a tough one. So I've been at quite a few brokerages, as you know. Steve and I had a standing agreement for quite a few number of years now, where if anything ever happens, we're going to partner up. Just so you know that. I know you know that. I'm not 100% sure. When you say leverage, I really want to do that. I want to be more or less here to help the team and help investors. But even teammates coming on, they're not all a good fit. Every brokerage is not the same. There's pros and cons to a lot of them.
Oh, absolutely.
So as far as growing the team, it's more the mindset. I want someone that truly wants to be an investor just like you, because that's a different mindset. They're going to attack things a little differently, and we're going to see eye to eye. To me, that's huge. If someone just wants to get in this business and make a lot of money, I don't think it's going to work. because then even the way they help clients we're not going to be.
It's going to be short lived.
You know, some are out there that
Yeah.
I'm amazed they're still doing what they're doing, but hey, it works for them. So I'm not going to knock them, but you know a few people.
So, do you see, yourself growing the team? Like, are you looking for more agents to potentially join your team? Because, people are listening out there. They're like, I like Matt's approach. How could they potentially work with you? Obviously, as a buyer, if someone wants to sell or if they want to invest, but, are you looking to grow your team? Are you looking to...
I'm looking to grow the team with the right people, as everybody is in every business. And I have a little niche, and it makes sense. And I have some people that have been very loyal, and they even apologize to me on the team. Like, I haven't bought an investment property yet, but I want to. That's fine. People's goals shift, their finances shift, but as long as they have the mindset and that's what they want to do and help people and obviously embrace technology, I'm all for it. And they have to understand that.
And what markets do you cover right now?
So I'm all over. I have a teammate that's affiliated with us in Jersey, so that gets a little squirrely, to be, dead honest with you. I think I do more business now in Delaware than I do in Pennsylvania. But I'm Delco born and raised, so I still have a stronghold there. Obviously, North Wilmington. We'll cover all of Delaware, and I have my license in Maryland. So Maryland's a few here and there, just to let you know.
You have a big footprint.
I do.
That's good. And you have pretty good market knowledge for helping investors in those areas too. Yeah. Where do you see any opportunities, like in any specific markets that you really like to invest in right now?
So me personally, again, my game plan has always been, I want to buy properties that I don't mind working on. So we can say safe here, everyone has a different level of what's safe. And that's what I go after personally.
So is that like proximity to you?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. Proximity as far as me getting there, and then somewhat decent school districts.
Sure.
And clearly a value add, something where I can do most of the work myself or other people now, and I know what it is. Because let's not talk about contractors. You know this.
Yeah.
Everything has skyrocketed. And to me, it just blows my mind. Like, I'm getting quotes where I'm like, now I got to do it myself. And it's like, I don't have to, but it's.
Yeah, to make the deal really make sense, sometimes you got to step in.
Yep.
Any tips for landlording? I know that's, I know I'm jumping all over, but
I love it.
Your quick answers, we're covering a lot of ground. Anyone that's like, they just got their first couple properties, what would you suggest for them to learn how to get into the landlording business?
So I've been, dealing with evictions before, and the judge says, oh, we can't, the late fees I charge. I'll be the first to say it. If you sign my lease the way I do it, it's strong. I am still going to be lenient, but what you signed is what I expect from somebody. And many people have said, I can't sign that. And that's good. I say, okay, you can't be a tenant then. And I'm not discriminating or doing anything along that. I just want someone to know up front that it's essentially zero tolerance.
It's your terms.
It's mine.
It's called lease terms.
But they don't get it. This is my property that I, bought, fixed up. And, some people have a mentality that they do have a right to live. And I get it. And I've worked through so many issues with people. I just wish I could put that in a video, and maybe I should, and say, hey, listen, I'm not a mean person, but this is my background and what brought me to where I am. So I would say definitely strong criteria. Don't just get somebody in quick. I did that before. Hey, I have the cash up front. Here you go. I can pay for 3 months. Here you go. And great. Some people might think, this is great. This is who I was looking for.
3 months later, where's the payments?
Exactly. So with that, as soon as something goes wrong or they miss a payment, it's business. Treat it as business. Because you go, hey, listen, per the lease terms, you got your 5-day notice. Like, I'm going to go through the court proceedings. And if you pay me, then we can stop it. But they got to know that you mean business. And it's not an issue with them. It's just like, this is how I make the bulk of my money, or you or someone else. Like, you got to respect that. And I just feel that we're on the other side of that these days. And I had someone to the tune of $30,000 of damage, and they were illegally breeding puppies.
Don't shoot yourself here.
Okay. Maybe later. No. And it just.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating when the courts,
been through it.
They don't really make sense.
No, they don't. So you're better off, especially with a tip there. If something's not going right, cash for keys. Sometimes people pay people off just to get out of there, or anything to expedite a bad situation. Because you were saying mindset, negative energy, anything. We're in this for the long haul. We don't want any bad blood with anyone, but even ourselves. Like, I carry a lot, or have carried a lot with me over the years, and I don't I don't think that was the best approach. Because I've handled a lot. I've got maced. I mean, I won't get into it, but I would handle evictions a little differently. Now you just tell them up front and it's business.
Yeah. Now, with that, and you being self-managing, right? What do you recommend for most people? Do you recommend they self-manage, at least at the beginning?
It depends. So yes, 100% in the beginning. If someone I have a client right now buying one property and it's their baby and it's a duplex and they're not living in one because that's a different animal, they're renting both of them out, self-manage, because then you learn. Just like contracting, you got to know a little bit of it, because then when you hire someone, to take over it, my thought process has always been, you know what to look out for. And they can do their work, but if something goes crazy and they're charging you $2,500 for a water heater, you got to know like that doesn't make sense. And that's my thought process.
Yeah.
But after a while, you want to get out of it, I think.
Unless you love it.
I mean, I like certain things,
yeah.
But get the right people in first.
Right.
Then you'll have less headaches.
So going back to the very beginning intention of the podcast to help transform the human mindset from scarcity and lack, we're really, most people are born into this scarcity mindset. And to transform that mindset to be able to go out and attack properties and take on things that's not what you're currently doing. So that's not your habits. Do you have any tips more on the mindset to shift for anyone that's just kind of stuck in that rut? Like they know they want to do this. And I don't want to, you can't just say, just do it. Okay. That's not an acceptable answer. What would you say is the best way, like a simple step for them to take to kind of get outside of their head and get in action?
So two things: run the numbers. So going back to the engineering background, know what the numbers are. Like literally some people want to get started, and that's what I would say. And shout out to Bigger Pockets. I mean, I learned a lot on my own, but probably the first 40 episodes, I instruct new people all the time. Just listen to that. It's kind of a crash course in investing, my opinion. And then you kind of know what's going on, but it's not for everyone. So I would almost get people to a pivot point. If they're going to do it and they just got to take that little step, let them know that even if they fail, even if you fail, you tried. And then you take that knowledge and you can move on. Because I've failed many times, and it's just more about getting back up and doing it. Now, you can learn a lot and prevent some of those failures or minimize them, but overall, we're all going to fail. And that's the part I think a lot of people in life in general, not just investing, Steve, they're afraid of. That's why, no offense, people have W-2 jobs. They're happy with, 2 weeks, 3 weeks vacation, whatever they get, and that's fine. So it's not for everyone. So you got to know yourself first and foremost. And if you're a step away, I don't want to say just do it. Talk to someone who's a couple steps ahead of you. I mean, you've heard this and you know it. Not 100 steps because you don't think you'll ever do it. But you can always take 1 or 2 steps. And if you find that person that's there and they just did it and they said, this is what got me over it, then they'll react better to them.
Was that helpful for you to always have someone that's like a few steps ahead that you could go to? Or
I didn't. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I would have been a lot better, learned a lot of things quicker. And I say that to people all the time now. I don't mind how I went about my approach and figured things out. But, oh yeah, getting a mentor early on that you trust is huge. I mean, I can't go back in time, but Steve, that would have just, oh my God, that would help me so much.
You did surround yourself with like other investors though.
Absolutely.
You know, local meetups, things of that nature, correct?
So we met, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you put yourself out there. That's probably what we should kind of reiterate. You put yourself out there. Even if it's, I know you're not big on social media, let people know what you're trying to do because they'll help you. There's a lot of good people out there. And if they hear something, guess what? Oh yeah, I have a friend that does this, or my cousin just did that. And it comes back to you. So if you put yourself out there, but you can't be private about a lot of things. If you really want to do it, tell your family, tell your friends, like put a deadline there. I mean, I had an ex-teammate, like he had it on the calendar when he was leaving. He was going to make it happen, and he did. So it's kind of hard for some people to get their self out of a W-2 mindset and do this. And the rewards they're worth it. We
I agree.
Of course.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly, right?
Monday afternoon, just drinking coffee, talking. No, we do work.
Of course.
It's not all easy. It's actually really hard. But like you said, it's worth it.
It's on your time. And again, I have some people that hit me up now and we talk and I go, this isn't going to work. I can recommend you to someone else, but I'm not out for hire for everyone. Neither are you. Like it needs to be a good fit. Just like a good interview, it's a two-way street.
So any last words of wisdom before we wrap up?
Not just do it. No,
That could be it.
Nah, that's short and sweet. No, just get outside your comfort zone. That's it. And if you really have an inkling to do this, and you're very close on the verge, reach out to someone. There's a lot of good people, Steve being one of them. They will help, and you'd be surprised. Even people way bigger than we are, they do still want to help people. And when you reach out through the proper channels, they're there to help.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, the people that are the most successful are usually the ones that are most willing to give.
Of course. And then people are too standoffish. So I tell my kids, you gotta ask.
Yep. So with that, what's the best way for people to reach out to you, Matt?
So email. I'm an email and texter. My cell phone number we can give there, but I'm Matt@lenzateam.com. That works. Lenzateam.com is the website, and I'm big on YouTube, or at least trying to be bigger. So just Matt Lenza on YouTube. It's probably simplest.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you being on today. Hope you guys found some value in this, and we appreciate your time.
Steve, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the Investor Agent Podcast today. We hope you found it valuable. Please tune in weekly at theinvestoragents.com.